You've probably heard about the INSS, Brazil's social security system. But have you heard about the multi-billion-dollar fraud scheme that almost brought it to its knees? Stick with me, because this story is a real-life political thriller. It all started in early 2024. Brazil's Social Security was bleeding money, and reports from watchdog agencies pointed to massive fraud. We're talking over 20 billion reais a year. Think about that. Money meant for retirees and those in need was being siphoned off by organized crime. The public outcry was so loud that Congress had no choice but to act. They formed a special commission, the CPMI, bringing together deputies and senators to dig deep and find out what was really going on. The first thing the CPMI did was demand documents, thousands of them, and what they found was shocking. About 1.5 million benefits were flagged as suspicious. More than 100,000 benefits were still being paid to people who were already dead. And worse, they discovered a network of corrupt employees inside the INSS working with middlemen to approve fake claims. It wasn't just a few bad apples, it was a structured criminal enterprise operating across the country. Then came the testimonies. This is where things got really intense. Former INSS employees came forward, admitting they took bribes to falsify records. One employee from Pernambuco even said his superiors ordered him to fast-track benefits for certain groups. He described in chilling detail how they would plant fake documents in the system. An auditor revealed a black market for benefits, where fake retirements and pensions were sold for thousands of reais. Imagine your right to Social Security being sold like a product on a shelf. Armed with this explosive information, the federal police launched major operations. Raids were conducted across the country, resulting in arrests, seizure of assets, and the shutdown of labs that were producing fake documents. The CPMI members were right there, witnessing the scale of the problem firsthand. It became clear that the fraud wasn't just due to criminals, but also because the INSS itself was broken. They were using outdated technology, had no proper biometric checks, and were severely understaffed. It was a perfect storm for corruption. As you can imagine, the political heat was intense. The government's supporters tried to downplay the investigation, blaming past administrations. The opposition, on the other hand, accused the current government of letting the problem spiral out of control. The sessions were filled with shouting matches and leaked testimonies that caused political crises. But the investigation pushed forward. One of the most shocking discoveries was that city governments and municipal employees were also in on the scam, issuing fake birth certificates and medical records to feed the fraud machine. The financial damage was staggering. By 2024, estimates showed that over 25 billion reais had been stolen or paid incorrectly. That's more than 10% of the entire annual budget for Social Security. Economists warned that if this wasn't stopped, the entire system could collapse. The public, especially honest people who depend on their benefits, were outraged and scared. They started demanding action, but also worried that legitimate beneficiaries might get caught in the crossfire. After more than a year of intense work, the CPMI released its final report, a 1,000-page document detailing the entire fraudulent operation. It named names, pointed fingers, and, most importantly, laid out a roadmap for change. They recommended creating a modern, integrated biometric system, conducting a mandatory review of all suspicious benefits, and implementing tougher laws against Social Security fraud. The report also called for the indictment of dozens of people, from low-level employees to business leaders. The fallout was immediate. The government was forced to shake up the INSS leadership and launch a national plan to fight fraud. The Federal Public Prosecutor's Office opened hundreds of criminal cases based on the CPMI's findings, leading to dismissals and arrests. In Congress, both sides of the aisle finally agreed that a deep structural reform was necessary, focusing on technology and transparency. The CPMI of the INSS became a turning point. It wasn't just another political committee that ended in nothing. It exposed the rotten core of a broken system and laid the groundwork for real change. But the fight is far from over. The system is still vulnerable, and it requires constant vigilance to ensure that public money goes to those who truly need it. This investigation was a powerful reminder that when institutions work and the public demands accountability, it is possible to fight back against corruption. Thanks for watching this deep dive into one of Brazil's biggest political investigations. If you found this story as compelling as I did, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next report. See you soon.